All right, people, get yourselves situated because we're going off the racing line.
It's the run to the line. Workman's off the track. He's got all four Michelins over the white line. He's defending.
Everything interesting happens off the racing line.
Welcome back to Off the Racing Line. I am your host, Carlos Espitia, and joining me as always is Mike Moore. Mike, welcome back, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Always my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me back again.
Hey, Mike, picture this. A BMW race car crashing hard at Daytona. Heat stroke slamming the driver into a dizzy mess as he fights to hold on to consciousness. Our guest today was just a college kid from New York who didn't care about cars, then got obsessed with them, then he got hooked on racing. Now he's racing in FARA, WRL, and also laughing his ass off while he takes on kids fresh from karting and into Formula 4. His story is perfect for Off the Racing Line. Hal Gould, welcome to the show, man.
It's my pleasure. Yeah, I love the narration.
You like the introduction?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's probably the only thing that I really work on, like, before every episode.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I hear it in my head. I love that. That's great.
Chuwadi wanted to hire me to do his intro every time he went somewhere.
I think I might hire you to be in the car with me, narrating turn by turn what I'm doing, make me feel like I'm in the movies. You know?
Maybe we can reach out to the people at Garmin and have the Catalyst voice like Carlos recorded.
That would be great.
There you go. As long as there's some royalties there, I'm all for it. Let's get started with your story into motorsports. Yeah. You told me a little bit about it. You mentioned that as even into your teens, you had no care or interest in cars.
Yeah, no, born and raised, New York City kid. The only thing we knew about cars were the yellow ones don't stop, which we unfortunately, we were kids in New York, rollerblading, skateboarding, all that kind of stuff. Got hit by a few cabs. That was all we knew about. No one was interested in driving. We were just, city kids, just subway, taxis, all that. Went to college. I was driving my grandmother's 1984 Honda Accord, which I loved because it worked. It was a car. It got me places. And my buddy, who is marginally into cars, more into the show of, he wanted to get girls, he wanted to go to the clubs. He leased a BMW 3 Series, just standard 3 Series. I know anything about cars, and he was like, let me show you what this thing's about. I'm like, okay, it's a nice car. It's a German car, cool. We went in the back roads of Garden City, New York. It's not much back roads, but, tearing through the streets. Car never missed a beat, never chirped the tire, and just took speeds at, things I didn't think possible.
Right.
My Honda Accord couldn't certainly do that. And that was kind of the first spark of like, whoa, like that was kind of interesting. That was kind of fun. And then coincidentally, the Fast and Furious franchise started.
Oh, no.
And I saw the first film, and I was like, this is so wild. What is this niche culture? Like, what is this stuff?
Yeah.
And I think just started taking note of tuner cars, people customizing their Mustangs or whatnot. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I want to know more about that. I want to kind of see what that scene's about. And, I think then the E46 M3 came out, and I was just like, what is this? Like that.
And you're still living in New York.
Still living in New York.
Okay.
Still don't have a budget for anything beyond my Honda Accord,
right.
Which was still working. And
but you're online doing research.
Oh man, I mean, YouTube, is really coming to its own then. This was 2000, 2001. And I would just sit and just watch exhaust videos, just the coolest exhaust videos I could watch, and I was just like, I need this in my life. Just these symphonies of just burbles and pops and whatnot.
I don't think burbles were back
They weren't.
then.
They were. Well, the C63, if you modified it, could have some lift off burbling, but because I had one, that's how I know. But
right.
It wasn't what it is today with burble tunes.
Sure.
And whatnot. But yeah, that was my gateway drug, and then. From that, I was aspiring to own one of these things. And my wife and I moved down to Florida, and, the car culture here is tenfold what it is in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it would have been pretty big up in New York.
No. I mean, you would see the occasional tuner car. You'd see, the occasional, souped up Mustang, but it wasn't, I think our first week down here, we saw our first Ferrari,
right.
And I've never seen one before. And I was like, what is that?
Now, when you were in New York, were you living in the city?
I grew up in the city.
Right, so that would explain it, right? It costs so much money to park, nobody has a car there, so that makes sense.
Not feasible.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was your first like sports car?
A C63. Yeah.
Okay.
I saved up for that thing. I mean, I was intoxicated by the sound of that. I didn't know anything about the handling. I didn't care. You know, I wanted to hear that sound. I thought it was the coolest looking car. It had this like muscular, boxy styling that I just thought was so cool. Very German, you know. So I bought that car actually in Coral Gables. And I drove home and I was just like on top of the world. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And immediately joined like MB World and was on there and chat with all the guys. I finally in the club, you know, and we did meetups and stuff. And, you know, they were really excited that the AMG, I would say clique at that time was very much into car shows, street racing, that kind of thing.
Right.
No motorsport, you know, kind of influence. But fortunately, my purchase came with an AMG Performance driving school. So I got to attend it for free. I bought a ticket for my wife. The two of us went to Palm Beach International Raceway. And Tommy Kendall and Shane Lewis were hosting the event. I had no idea who they were. I had to Google them when I got home. But they were legitimate as it could be.
Yeah.
And I got hot laps with them and got to see what a car can actually do. You know, it's my first time ever truly braking hard in a car. You know, I didn't know you can like just slam on the brakes. I didn't know the car would do that.
Yeah.
And
you know, it's funny when we were talking on the phone, you know, just prior to the show, and you told me that story, and the name Shane Lewis popped up again. I started thinking that Shane Lewis is kind of like the Kevin Bacon of motorsports, right? There's that
Everybody knows
6
somebody who knows
degrees
somebody.
of separation from Shane Lewis. I think he's our guy.
Oh yeah. I mean, I used to think he lived at PBIR. You know, every time I was there, it was always, oh, there's Shane. You know, like in the stands or in the garages or wherever.
He's a big deal now. Like he's traveling a lot in Europe right now.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he gave me a hot lap in a CLK Black Series. And I mean, I genuinely couldn't believe we were still on the track. The way he threw that thing through every corner, looking at me the whole time. He's like, hey, you know, and I'm freaking out. You know, never been in a high performance car, let alone with a professional driver. But it was fantastic. And he definitely could drive the wheels off.
Man, you got your money's worth riding with Shane.
100%. 100%. I mean, just the whole experience, it just was so eye-opening to what a car can do. You know, we watch the YouTube videos. I understand the car's straight line, they're fast, you can floor it, but I had no idea the braking prowess of these things and the handling capabilities. And it just opened my eyes to what driving really could be.
Yeah. Okay, so we've gone through, I don't really care about cars too. I am infatuated by cars.
Hooked.
Now you've done your first track day with Shane Lewis. Like, talk about gateway drug, right?
Well,
now what?
So I was incredibly hooked and was like, I need to do this. I literally on the drive home with my wife was like, I need to get back on track. I don't know anything about it, but I need to do this.
Yes.
6 years go by. Nothing happens. I don't know if it was just, you know, I just didn't take the time. We were starting a business at the time, so I was quite busy. But I just didn't know how to get involved. I didn't know what the next steps would be. And it was kind of one of those notions where it will present itself, you know, and I'll take advantage of it. But it just, if I wasn't going to do anything, it wasn't going to happen. And it just, you know, I joined the forums and I was talking to the AMG guys. And I even said a number of times, let's do a track day. And they're like, drag strip? And I'm like, no, like a track day. And they're like, no.
With turns and twisties.
Car show? No. Okay. Oh, okay. No. So it took a while to finally do my first real track day. And I'd gotten into the exotic world briefly, where I was interested in purchasing, you know, flashy cars, and, you know, I was having fun with that. And I had purchased a McLaren 650S. And I did, funny enough, how little I knew about cars. I did a NASA driving event, and I don't mean NASA, the racing group, the landing strip. The 3 mile runway.
Right. You know? I know that they opened that up to the, I guess, not the public, but people can rent it.
No, it was a certain gentleman rents it like every 3 months, and I think it was limited to 20 or 30 cars. I had zero knowledge about prepping a car, Tire pressures. I knew nothing.
You just wanted to see how fast it would go.
I wanted to see if I can go 200 miles an hour. That was all I cared about, the big 200. And went there, and surprisingly enough, there was no, they never checked over the car. There was no.
Really?
Yeah, there was
just hey, let's see if you can go 200.
Exactly.
Nobody
Sure,
checked
right.
tire pressure?
Yep, no tire
Holy
pressures, no
cow.
tech sheet. They if there was fuel in the car, no one knew. It was just, hey, you're
That's
here,
nuts.
go run it.
Here's 3 miles of tarmac.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
luck to you.
They're like by the first cone, they'll break.
Don't kill yourself.
Yes, exactly. Don't die, please. And there were heavy hitters. I mean, there was a Bugatti Chiron.
Yeah.
There was souped up GTRs. I mean, everything you could fathom. And no tech sheets, no one checked
That's
over anything.
nuts.
And I think back to that, and I'm like, wow, that was sketchy. Like,
Yeah.
the tires that came with it was a used car. I don't know, who changed the tires and when last time the
God.
brakes were looked at. Like, I just drove it.
Yeah.
And I did hit 203.
Oh,
Wow.
jeez.
Yeah, it's on my YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube page, you'll see it's one of the first.
Oh, nice. We can do an overlay of that.
Yeah, you'll see me in.
Does it show the speedometer?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
The overlay. And,
Nice.
it was a cool event, but I didn't know still. Okay, there were some cool events that were presented, but I didn't know how to get on the racetrack. How do I actually put myself on the track? And through owning an exotic car, there was a gentleman who ran a charity event, and for charity, he was like, "Hey, we're doing a track day," and I was like, "Oh, sign me up! Like, I need to get on track."
Yeah.
And it was at Homestead. We went there, and there was a bunch of Ferraris, Lamborghinis, everything under the sun. And it was predominantly parade laps. Like, nobody really wanted to push it. I think the guy who organized the event had an ACR, Viper ACR. He was pushing it. Everyone else was just pedaling around, and it was also a nice introduction. But I still was left like wanting more. What can I do? This is just not fun. Just kind of puddling around. I had no instructor. It was just go out and have fun.
Yeah.
You paid for this charity thing. You have a couple hours to go out and do some things. Go do it, And I was the only one out there for a while. My wife actually went out a couple times by herself because there was no one going out on track. Like, they rented the track and.
Around the oval, right?
No, we did the whole road
infield.
course. Yeah.
Okay.
And but no, more people more interested in hanging out in the garages and showing off their new paint job and
Okay.
how they wax their car.
And so at some point you decided, I'm going to be more serious about this.
Yep.
And that's where you went to racing school.
So it was 2019. I realized exotic cars were I love them, I appreciate them, but my interest is really throwing a car on the track and just beating the snot out of it.
Let's see what we can do with it.
Yeah, I actually traded in my McLaren for a Cayman GTS.
Of course he did. Right. Like every other wise human being, he naturally progresses from whatever you had to an actual tool to do the job. Of course.
I'm curious there. Let's talk a little bit about that. What was that big difference between the McLaren and then jumping to a GTS?
Well, first, the reliability. My McLaren, you would start with your fingers crossed, and I legitimately mean that. Like, every time I started it was, the company was a 2015, so the company was kind of still newer in their modern cars, so they're still working out the kinks. They're probably better now.
Well, maybe not. Let's not jump to any conclusions.
I'm giving them benefit of the doubt.
Right. I mean, it's very kind of you as a former owner.
I try.
Right.
I want to stay in their good graces in case they want to sponsor. It was stressful owning the car. I mean, I'm 5'7", and the car had this fantastic feature that when you open the door for someone your height, the seat would move itself back. That's a really great feature, and it did it automatically. I was in Cape Canaveral doing that Runway event. Finished the event, called my wife, I'm coming home. Opened the door, the seat moved back, fantastic. Got in, closed the door, nothing happened. I'm now trying to manually move the seat forward. Nothing happened.
Right.
I am now stuck in a position for someone 6'5", 6'6".
You can't reach the pedal.
I can't reach. I'm like, is there a phone book? So like that kind of.
I'm short too, so I'm sure you're probably thinking this is embarrassing. Like, I don't want to ask somebody like, hey, I can't reach the pedals.
I mean, I literally went into my suitcase and took every article of clothing and shoved it behind my back to booster me forward so I can make that drive while I'm not just hanging on the steering wheel. But that sort of thing happens so often with that car.
Yeah.
That it's
little things.
Little things.
What about driving it? the driving experience between the two?
It was a fantastic car to drive. It felt like a true exotic. It felt refined. It didn't feel like, because they had the 12C beforehand, so it didn't feel like a second generation McLaren. It felt like they had been doing this a while. It was a great car. Honestly, when the car worked, it was phenomenal. I loved it.
Right.
It was really comfortable. If you put it in the sportiest settings, it felt great. It felt nimble. It felt agile.
Compared to the Cayman GTS, did you feel like, okay, the Cayman GTS is maybe a little more sluggish or not, maybe quite more nimble?
What year was the GTS? Was the
GTS,
2.5 liter
it was the
turbo?
2.5 turbo.
All right, same car I have now.
Fortunately, that car had great low-end torque. Which made up for any lack of horsepower, honestly. I mean, that car, it was funny because when I test drove that car, I test drove a 2015 GTS, which was naturally aspirated. And I mean,
sounded better, but that was it.
Sounded fantastic.
Right. Yeah,
but
exactly.
I remember the poor salesman was really trying hard to move that 2015, even though it was cheaper, but I think they had it for some time. And he was just like, no, really get on it. And I'm like, I am.
Right.
And he's like, well, no, shift to a lower gear. And I'm like, dude, I'm in first. Like, it's just not going anywhere. Like, you really need to ring it out.
And the Porsche purists hate that 2.5 liters so much that now the 2015 is probably worth more than.
It probably is.
Yeah, that would not surprise me at all.
Oh, I think it would be. But I mean, for me, with my sole intention was getting into, not necessarily motorsport, but on track. That 2.5 was incredible. I mean, that low end torque, it never felt anemic. Power's always there. I did downpipes from Soul. That woke the thing up. I never tuned it, but just those downpipes, it was a whole nother car. I mean, the way it revved out, I honestly never missed any high horsepower vehicle. I felt totally, satiated with that 2.5.
So you never looked back on the McLaren?
Never.
Imagine that.
I will say, I mean, the only thing I can point to about the McLaren was when I did drive it on track, I had no idea what I was doing. I would love to drive one now, having some experience and knowing a little more what I'm doing. So that is the only caveat. I can't speak to the real handling capabilities of the car because I was just like, what am I doing?
Right. You don't know how much you were leaving on the table at the time because you weren't getting everything out of it.
Timing myself. I was just going out there looking for what does that flag mean? I didn't even. The charity event I went to didn't even discuss the flag, so no ideas. And at one point it was like the hazard flag was out, the red and orange. I'm like, what does that mean?
That's a happy flag.
Right.
Yeah.
It means the seat is stuck in the back position. Your McLaren. Exactly. That's what it means.
The phone book.
Right.
Yeah. Needed it.
Nice. Tell me, when you started, you went to a Lucas Oil Racing School.
So I started doing track days in the Cayman. Loved it. Was going 20 times a year at least. I mean, when I go 2 feet in, I just go 2 feet.
You got bait hard.
Oh yeah. I mean, I brought the car to my shop and I was like, camber, alignment, get me, control arms, everything I could do to the car within reason. Let's do it. So I was all in and I was loving it. I was absolutely loving it. And I attended, I think it was an organization, I don't even know if they're still in business, but they did a tandem track day at Daytona with International GT. So International GT was racing, and we were there for the HDPD, And I did my session. I was loving it. I was high on life. And I went up in the stands to watch the start of the first sprint race. And the electricity in the air and watching the cars come around, the front straight, and then the green flag drop. And I was like, I need this.
Yeah.
Like, what is
You're like, I want to do that.
Yeah. And actually, it's funny. I called my wife again on the way home and I was like, I need to race. Like, I know I just started this tracking thing, but like now I felt the energy and I got to see it firsthand and I need a piece of that. I need to see what.
So I'm wondering, you mentioned your wife a couple of times. How has she, I guess, backed you up into this crazy world of first cars and then tracking and then racing?
So yeah, my wife has been incredibly supportive, and she's sitting over there, is actually a car girl herself.
Okay.
She's been 100 and nearly 60 miles an hour on the track, not on the street.
She does some track days as well.
She had done some
Nice.
with me. She's driven Ferraris, McLarens, you name it. She's gone out there.
Yeah.
She actually during the AMG driving school, she was the only one drifting the SLS.
No.
Everyone
Nice.
was point shooting. She was like, I'm gonna let the tail wag, So she's always understood, from a personal perspective, understood the appeal.
Yeah.
And then seeing, I think, my just love and passion, evolve. She really got behind it. She
Nice.
was like, you're a maniac on the street, so at least you could channel that, maybe not be a maniac all the time.
And that's something we talk about all the time. In fact, the last episode, we really harped on that, was trying to get people to stop racing on the street and get them onto the track, which I laid down a challenge. And I said, any street racer out there that's never done a track day before, if you go to the track and you beat Mike's or my time, we'll give you a free track day for the rest of the year.
We could throw Hal's lap times in there because he's right there, man. He's a little bit faster than you and I, so maybe we should make, if anybody ever beats that challenge and you owe him a free track day, we'll just substitute your or my lap time with his lap time.
Yeah. If you or I are not running, then it'll be Hal's time.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan. But it's true. I mean, it's such a great outlet, especially for people who would like to drive spiritedly and like to see what their car can do. I mean, it's cathartic. I mean, by the time you're done with the track day, I drive home, relatively slowly after a track day. I'm spent and I have no need to drive fast. I was just going, 120, 130,
And that's something that I think we're gonna want to have a separate episode and talk about that topic. The fact that a lot of, I would say, high net worth individuals really like the sport is because from Monday through Friday, if they're running a business, multiple businesses, their brain just will not stop. And you go to the racetrack and you get inside that race car, there's nothing else in there except the next turn.
There certainly shouldn't be anything in there other than what
there's no room for anything else. Yeah. If there is, then you shouldn't be out there in the first place. So yeah, I think it's therapeutic. And I call it like a mental cleansing.
Yeah. You have to disconnect. So, certainly. Yeah.
It's a hell of a way to disconnect.
Right. Well, because you're right. You're so focused on the task at hand.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot at stake as well.
It's not so much a disconnect. I don't want people to get the impression of oh, I'm on vacation on the beach.
Disconnect from reality.
It's more like you're unplugging from one thing and plugging into something else, right?
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Just getting the blinders on and just focusing.
I think a good analogy would be if you're watching TV and you got the picture-in-picture, but there's like maybe 20 different picture-in-pictures like that. This is your brain, right? And when you go to the racetrack and you're racing, all of them go away, and there's just one picture, and that's all you can focus on.
Right.
That's essentially what it is.
No, I love it.
Okay. You've driven a lot of different cars.
Yeah, trying to. and that's kind of part of my pursuit right now is to try to see in regards to racing, where do I want to go? What do I want to drive? Where do I want to commit? So I'm actively trying to drive as much as possible.
So talk to us a little bit about the different cars that you've raced that you really liked, some that maybe were disappointment to you.
Yeah.
You can start with the most disappointing and then just end your story on Porsche.
I drove a BMW once. I got my start. So to go back to your original question about the driving school, I first, to pursue my racing license, I went through the Lucas Oil School of Racing, which they have these little Formula Ray cars. I don't know if they're proprietary to them because they're a little different than the Formula Rays you would see on TV or in iRacing. But they're intentionally kind of difficult to drive, teach you good car control. If you make a mistake, it's exaggerated. You will spin. There's no question. You could lock up the brakes. You will.
It's like driving in the rain, basically.
Yeah. It's not as pronounced as that, but it's certainly, it highlights, bad habits.
Right.
And so driving those is such a rewarding and frustrating experience because, you think you're great and then you just kind of spun through that turn and then you think you're back on it and then you just overbroke and went into the grass and you're like, man, I thought I was good. But it's such a great tool. So my start in there, and I did 16 races with them. I went through their school and then did their racing program, and it was fantastic. Great competition. You learn a lot. You get humbled, and then you have days where you do phenomenal. But it was great to try those cars out, and I learned that I would never want to own one of those. So from there, funny enough, my goal was always GT. And because I own a GT4 street car, I was like, I would like to go the club sport route. Before I could actually commit to getting into a club sport, a gentleman by the name of Gustavo Jacquemin reached out to me and said, hey, we're starting a master's Formula 4 program at Homestead. And it's going to be in tandem with FARA. And let's get you in an F4 car. And I got to drive, all of us from the Homestead Driving Club got to drive one. And it was everything I ever expected it to be. It was, you're 3 inches off the ground. The brake is tremendously hard, but very little give, and it's satisfying to get right. The acceleration is good because the car weighs, nothing. The G-forces you can obtain in hitting the apexes is beyond what you can comprehend. It's full-on race car and very exciting to drive. So those are.
So you mentioned the Formula 4. Let's talk a little bit about that. And I had that on my list of things to go over.
I'm going back and forth all over.
That's fine. So for people that don't know, the Formula 4 is really made up of young kids.
Yeah.
Young kids meaning 14 to I think 20 is the max, somewhere around there. So Jacquemin reached out to you. He was interested in doing a master's program, masters meaning older individuals like us, and you would supposedly be running separately than the kids.
Yes.
So what happened?
So
I really hope this story ends like that Seinfeld episode where Kramer is fighting like the little 8-year-olds in karate. Everybody see that? Oh, it's fantastic.
Now that we've ruined that,
one of my favorite episodes.
Buckle up. Yeah.
Exactly, buckle up.
So precisely that. So, he called me and he's like, we're presenting it to the gentleman from the Homestead Driving Club, which we have 30, 40 members who are interested in trying out. And trying out means just, can you fit, and you want to commit to doing this, which everyone could. It really wasn't an issue. And he's also inviting people from the outside. If I had anyone in mind, and I have a pretty good Rolodex of guys who track and might be interested in this. No racing license required. We would kind of, coach them through this whole thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were gonna, it was gonna be kind of a learning process. But you had to be experienced. You couldn't just be, first, second track day kind of guy. You had to be pretty much a veteran. And so he brought the cars out. So we got a test day. Everyone came in. I can't wait to do this. This is amazing. It was just very exciting, you know? And so he's like, yeah, okay, we're going to have at least 10 guys. We're going to do a staggered start. So the young kids, just ignore them. The young kids will be going. They're going to be fast. These kids have been in karts since they're 4 years old. They're going to get the green flag. You guys are going to come down turn 10. Then you'll come across, you'll get your green flag, and we'll just go racing. I'm like, this is awesome. How great. Get to compete against fellow older gentlemen and, kind of test our mettle and get that experience of what it's like to be a legitimate Formula race car driver. So I, put my name down right away without hesitation, expecting another 8 or 9 guys to do the same. I kept reaching out to Gustavo, how's it going? He's like, oh, it's great. We're really excited. We're looking forward to this. Okay. 2 days before the race, which was one of the first races in the FARA calendar at Homestead.
This is this year?
No, this was 2024. Yeah, it's last year. And he's like, yeah, so no one else signed up.
For the master's program.
It's just you. Yeah, for the master's program.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to get a refund and bummer, we'll put me in something else, and he's like, no, you're still racing.
You're going.
Yeah. Right.
Knowing Gustavo, he's not gonna. There's no refund.
No. So I'm like, okay, so
why would you want a refund when you can go beat up on a 12-year-old?
Or
better yet, why get a refund while you can get beat up by 12-year-olds?
Precisely. I'm like, okay, so how's this gonna work? And he's like, well, you're gonna
finish last. That's how it's gonna work.
And Gustavo, I love Gustavo, and he's like, well, you're gonna win. Right?
Naturally.
Like, well, of course.
He sounds like a salesman. I'm like, no problem.
So, tentatively, I went into the weekend. The best was the drivers meeting, so they have an official separate drivers meeting for the Formula kids. And I go in there and, looking around at
This is a
kids
fantastic story.
my
I
son's
love
age,
this.
and
Oh
the
my
dads are all my cronies, like they're my age,
Right.
and I'm looking around.
Dads are looking at you like, hey man, what's up?
They're like,
Why-
which
what-
one's yours?
I
Toby your kid? No.
I imagine like a preschool with the little chair,
Right,
and
right,
then
right,
here's
right.
Hal in the little chair next to them.
But in reality, they're all bigger than me, But so it's definitely awkward, first and a little weird, and then incredibly intimidating because as you're kind of getting ready for the meeting to start, I'm chatting with the kids,
At this point in time, had it dawned on you yet that you were going to be the slowest person?
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I fully understood that going into this, but then it kind of further cemented it when I'm talking to the kid next to me who's up to my hip, and he's like, yeah, it's my 10th year racing.
Right,
Oh,
right,
jeez.
And I'm like,
right. He's talking about spring
'cause he's
rates and all
15,
kinds of
and
stuff.
he started when he was 5
Right.
karting, and it's like he has 10,000 laps on this track, and I'm
Right.
like, oh yeah.
And he leans over to you and says, "Good luck to you out there, Hal.
Yeah, yeah.
But if I see you, I'm going to put you on the wall."
Right.
Yeah, just stay out of my way. So it was incredibly humbling. And so I have to get my head around this, and these kids have been driving these cars, some of them for a few years already. Qualifying was daunting, because especially I'm still trying to get my head around driving this thing.
It's only
Let
it's
alone-
only the second time
Only
you've been in
second
this
time
car.
I've been in this car, and now we're in qualifying, and these kids are just flying by me like, and there's no point buys, there's no courtesies, they're just going for it, and at 14, 15 years old, they're like that's all they know. It's just let's just go, red line.
This reminds me of what the scene in Talladega Nights
Yeah.
when he's going so slow and the other cars go.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Oh,
"What was that? What was that?
100%.
Were
Yeah.
those the other cars?"
Oh yeah, so much over there on the radio. They're like, "Are you okay? Is the car working? Is it functioning?" I'm like, "It's fine.
Right,
It's just
yeah,
me."
right.
Like I'm just getting my head around this whole thing.
my goodness.
But it ended up being a great weekend. I will say I kind of got to grips with the car by the final race, which is a little late. But and I set the 5th fastest time of the weekend.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
And got 6th place. So I was actually out of 16. So I was pretty happy with where I was.
Yeah.
So you're better than 9, 12, and 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's
I
fantastic.
rubbed it in their faces.
Right.
In your
In your
you better
face.
believe it.
Right.
I got some rubber and smushed it. Like it was good.
Well, and the good news there is even if the 5 kids in front of you started talking smack, all you have to do is say, oh, yeah, well, at least my mom isn't driving me home from the track, right?
Oh, I got a driver's license. You got one of these?
So it was a great introduction. Unfortunately, we still do not have a master's class in that.
Are you still running with them?
Occasionally I do. So it hasn't been intentional. I find because like I said, my goal was to drive a club sport, a GT4 club sport. And so I had spoke to David Tuwati and went to Sebring, and I was like, I'm going to rent your club sport for the race. And, we went up there. This was only a few months after the Formula FARA race. And the club sport broke on the practice. So we went out, transmission blew. Okay, so I'm going home. So I'm literally in line, and my friend Ben Arche was racing. So I was like, I want to watch him qualify at least and hang around a little bit, have the hotel. But, I'll probably end up packing up early. And I'm online to get something for lunch when Gustavo shows up. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm here. I was here with the club sport, but that broke. So now I'm actually going to go home. And he's like, you want to race Formula 4?
Right.
I'm like,
Oh, man.
So I have raced now total 7 races with them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Have you gotten sort of the wind beneath your wings?
I
in that?
haven't stayed consistent with it enough to like really kind of become proficient with the Formula 4 because it does take rewiring. I mean, the car is so agile, so
imagine,
light,
yeah.
so capable that. When I get back into, so it's funny because I did one of the SLS events where I did the SLS event in my GT4 street car and then jumped into the Formula 4 to race. And my street car felt like a Cadillac. I mean, every time I got in, I was like, whoa, how did she gain 1,000 pounds?
What's with the body roll?
Yeah, I mean, it was wild. And so to reorientate, my perception of everything was hard. And that's the thing. If you really want to make a go at something like Formula 4, you got to be consistent. You got to be in there doing
Sure.
because it's so different from any GT car you could ever race. It's night and day.
I would love to join you out there in the Masters, but my guess is that somebody that's 6'5" does not fit in a Formula 4 car.
I don't know.
Right, no.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
right.
maybe just cut the pedal box and just put it outside of the car. And
Sure,
just
right.
Legs out, that might work.
That'd be better than cutting my legs off at the shin.
I mean,
Right.
if you're not
Yeah.
willing to
Well,
commit,
Right. Yeah, right.
that's up on you.
Okay, so you've raced with little kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've raced with FARA. You also race.
Proud.
You also race. You like the way I framed that?
I do.
You also race WRL.
Yes.
Which we talked about this. It's an endurance series. Tell me about that.
So I signed up. I was very excited. I like the longer format. I've done a bunch of sprint racing in Formula and GT, and I've done a few 2-hour enduros with FARA. Loved it. I need more of that. It's got more strategy involved. It's not just go all out for 30 minutes.
Right.
There's strategy involved, pit stops involved. Really appealing. So a good buddy of mine, Ryan, was coaching a WRL weekend, and he's like, "Hey, we need a driver. Are you interested?" I'm like, "Yeah. Where is it?" He's like, "Daytona." I'm like, "Awesome, in June." Okay. Has a cool suit. He's like, "Got a cool system. Might have AC. We're still working on that. It's a E46 M3. Super well sorted. It's like a contender. Like this car's won in WRL. It's a contender." I'm like, "Sign me up."
Yeah.
I'm super psyched. It's a 14-hour race, one day. So sometimes WRL will do endurance races and set them up over 2 days. So it'll be like 6 hours, 7 hours the second day. This was 14 straight hours.
Really?
Yep. So it's going to be quite long.
How many stints did you drive?
So
Or were you
there's
supposed
three
to
of
do?
us. We're supposed to do 2-hour stints, which,
Like 2 each?
2 hours each. So we go in for 2, you're out for 4, in for 2, out for 4. It's with a team, so we don't have to do any wrenching ourselves, which was...
That's the only way I would do it also. Like I will not
you
go out
don't
there and
want-
wrench and drive.
No. I mean, you're so fatigued, and it's so draining mentally as well as physically,
Yeah.
because there is so much more going on than just driving fast, because you want to be aware of the tires. You want to be aware of your fuel consumption. You want to be aware of pit stops, yellow flags. Like, there's a lot to think about. And then, things going wrong, which they're going to go wrong. 14-hour race, a lot's going to go wrong. So our situation started falling apart actually before the race. So, they have a practice day on a Thursday, and then they have qualifying and more practice on a Friday, and then the race. I was like, should we do the practice on Thursday? And my coach is like, no. You're going to get plenty of time on Friday. You'll have like so many hours in the car. And then during the race, you're going to be in the car at least 6 hours. Like you'll be fine. I'm like, okay. So we skipped the Thursday practice. Wednesday night, I get a text message that the M3 we're supposed to drive the motor blue on the dyno, because they require dyno results to class the car. And okay, again, situation, are we out? Am I getting my money back? Are we going to put it forward? So where else are we going to race? No. We're borrowing a BMW 235i street car converted to race car. But it's good. It'll work. Might not be as competitive as the other one, but you'll be happy.
We'll finish the race.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay. So we show up. Thursday, they had a great day. We didn't run, but Thursday was a beautiful day. A lot of practice time for the people who did run. Friday, I'm like, okay, we're gonna get a lot of practice in on this car. Lightning. And Daytona, if you're not familiar, has really advanced lightning detection. And they will not run if there is lightning within 1 million miles. It's
Because
so
of the corner workers.
Yeah. And I get it, but it's so sensitive, and they, for whatever, they detect further out than like NASA. So pretty much the entire day was just waiting.
So no practice.
No practice.
Oh.
I got in the car for one practice, and I was in it for I think 3 laps. And during those 3 laps, I got to know the car this much. It was just, I knew where the pedals were.
Want to drive on a real racetrack but don't have a car? Velocity Track Experience offers track-ready car rentals for HPDE and racing. Whether you're flying in from out of state, out of the country, or you want full track support without worrying about prep, maintenance, or transport, this is your arrive and drive solution. From an agile Mazda MX-5 to a fully prepped BMW race car, Velocity provides everything you need to hit the track with confidence, including expert support and optional coaching. Just book your favorite track car, show up, and drive. Go to velocitytrackexperience.com and start your track adventure today.
So the next day, It's race day. You know, the race starts promptly at 8 a.m. I mean, you're the green flag, 8 a.m.
Sure.
So we get there. You know, I was going to be the second stint. The first gentleman who got in our car was like, you know, okay, he's done a bunch of these, veteran of WRL. He's radioing in, yeah, we're getting, you know, cool suits, not working. It's intermittent, you know. I'm like, okay, you know, we'll work it out. And the AC's blowing hot air. I mean, like hot air.
This is summer in Florida.
It's 96 degrees, you know.
120, 130 in the car.
Oh God. So okay. So I'm getting ready to get in the car. I'm already like, you know, a little nervous about the heat, but I'm putting ice in my suit. I'm still wearing the cool suit because they said it's intermittent. So sometimes it works and it's nice, and sometimes it doesn't work. I get in the car, does not work.
Yeah.
Not at all. The AC is not just blowing hot air, it is just engulfing the cabin in hot air. It is blowing on me with intention.
You can't turn it off?
You can't, because another issue with this car was we were having some overheating.
So you have to blow it out of there.
Yeah, so we had to blow all that hot air in our face.
Oh my God.
And you know, the worst
Sounds like fun, sun
So and it was just brutal. So I'm in my 2-hour stint. I make it through it just barely. You know, starting to see black spots, but make it out of the stint. Okay, switch drivers. Next to go. Then my turn comes again 4 hours later. I'm like, okay, we qualified P16, and we're now in P9. Okay, we're catching the group. We're doing well. I get in for my second stint, and I'm already overheating getting into the car, and I intentionally put ice up. I mean, any crevice I could pack ice, I did.
Well, the black spots, just to quickly interrupt you, you're already starting to suffer from heat exhaustion.
Yes.
And you're not recovering for at least 24 hours.
No.
And you took a 4-hour break.
Right.
Okay.
And
so we're already in bad shape.
Bad shape. And mistakenly, I didn't even sit in a car. So, you know, Daytona, there's no place, there's no respite, you know, unless you get into a car or a trailer or something. And I made the mistake of being social instead of getting in a car and blasting some AC. So it was bad decision after bad decision. So I get in the car. It's bad. I mean, I'm doing well enough where my times are consistent. We're one of the faster guys in our class, but I'm starting to suffer, and I'm starting to feel some stomach cramping. I'm starting to feel fatigue. I could feel the headache coming, and I radio in, and I'm like, yeah, like guys, safety's now a concern. I might need to get out of the car. And they're like, well, your replacement driver's in the bathroom. So can you just go out for a little longer? I'm like, okay. So, you know, force it a little longer to the point where now my stomach is full on cramping. I am full in the gulf of heat stroke. And I'm like, guys, I need to pull in. They're smartly, the crew chief is like, get in, just get in. So I pull in. I can't even get out of the car. Fortunately, one of the crew members, the mechanics, was a paramedic, pulled me out of the car and stripped me to my underwear on pit lane. Like literally just ripped my clothes off, packed me with ice, you know, liquid IV, all that stuff.
You must have looked pretty bad if you determined that.
He said I had no color at all. He was like, he's like, you were not well. I'm like, great, okay. So
that matches how I was feeling. So thank you for that confirmation.
So that's my insides or my outsides. Yeah, great. So I get in a car this time and I just blast the AC, and they're like, well, you have a break now because the car broke down. So the car is now overheating. So they park the car and they're like, we're going to work on it. And then we have everyone else going. So you have some time to kind of recuperate. So I sit in the car, blast the AC. We were out of the race for about 45 minutes while they replaced hoses and, you know, whatever. I wish we replaced the AC, but we didn't. Try to get the cool suit system working. Nope, it was just the wiring all need to be redone. But finally we got it working. Car went out. Guys are doing awesome. My teammates are killing it. They're moving back up. I think we're now in 8th or 7th. It's my turn to get in. They're like, what do you think? I'm like, listen, I feel okay. I feel good enough to drive. I'm not going to be doing hot laps. I'm just going to be consistent and doing it. I get in the car, again, packing. My wife's like pouring ice down my shirt, and she's like, don't die. I'm like, okay. Go out.
Good advice.
Yeah. Don't die. So first hour, then we have pit. I felt fine. I think I got into like a zone and got into a rhythm, and I was doing actually my best times of the day. We were actually one of the fastest guys on track in our class at that point. I was feeling good. Went out for my last 45 minutes of the stint. We got a yellow flag. Okay, cool down. It was nice and nice. Went green. I started going. They're like 2 more laps. I'm like, okay, 2 more laps. I could do this. I'm going through turn 1. A GT4 is kind of going through turn 1 with me, but he's definitely more in my quarter section in the rear. So I'm thinking he's going to let me go through the chicane and then just easily get around me, because that would make the most sense at this point, because, I had track position. He's not. He's still going at it. We're coming through. We're still turning. My steering wheel's still turned, and he's just moving in closer and closer to me, indicating, hey, I'm going. I'm like, oh, God. So I lifted, and I think it was part of his fatigue and all that, and the car started rotating.
Right.
So I, in my stupor, was just like, all right, I'm losing the rear, so I'm going to go back to throttle a little bit to shift the weight to the rear so I can get a little grip. And I think I gave too much throttle, and I just lost control. Spun, hit the wall, nothing too crazy, bounced off, facing the wrong direction. Okay, not good. Go to restart the car, nothing. I'm like, okay, I'm now stuck. This is now my worst nightmare.
This is turn 2?
Turn 1. Like, it was right after, it's blind. It's concrete wall, it's turn 1, and I'm facing the wrong way. And I see the flag bearer, and it's a green flag. And I'm literally waving. I'm pulling the brights. I know they're not working. The headlights are gone. But I'm flashing the brights. I'm screaming. I'm doing everything.
So Cup cars are going into turn 1, into the braking zone at well over 160, 170.
Right. So... And I'm acutely aware of that. And cars are just flying. They're coming, and they're last minute. You could see from the language of the car. Oh,
you see their eyes.
Cars are going left. Cars are going right. And I'm sitting there, and all I could do is be a passenger waiting to get hit.
Right. Just sit there with your eyes closed at that point in time and hope for the best.
All of a sudden, 2 prototypes come around turn 1. And the prototype in front is clearly watching his mirrors, because
he didn't see
the editor
you.
behind him is trying to get him. And last minute, he moves, and the prototype just nails me.
Oh my God.
Head to head, we just kissed head to head. He said he was going about 80. I have no idea. And that was, I thought it was over. I was like, that's it. The lights out.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I was conscious the whole time. It hurt like hell. I never felt pain like that all over. Just like,
jarring, huh?
It was so brutal.
Was your wife there?
So my wife was there. She was watching from the stands, and she's quite familiar with racing, and she saw there was a red flag, but she didn't see the incident.
She didn't know it was you.
She knows me. So she was like booking it to pit lane to find out, because she knew my stint was over. So she was like, okay, it's a red flag, so they're just stopped. But when it's green again, he's coming right in.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'll meet him with liquid IV and all that stuff, because she was just more concerned about my dehydration and heat stroke than anything else. She's going down pit lane, and she sees the crew, and she's like, I could see the look on their face.
Oh, man.
Who were involved. And so she immediately is like, what happened? And the guys were really nervous, because they knew it was a big impact. Right. They knew it was bad. And they were like, I don't know, ask him. And they kept passing the buck. And finally, the owner of the team was like, we're going to the hospital. And she's like, okay. And he's like, follow me, we're going. So they went to the hospital, which was one of those things where, the ambulance drivers, they pulled up. They were so upset that there were never yellow flags. They were screaming. It's so funny, because I'm like, I'm in writhing pain. Like, mostly so one thing about endurance racing, we're putting each other in and out of the seat. So the belts weren't as tight as they should have been.
Right.
So when I got hit and the impact, it moved my manhood into the wrong position.
Right.
So I was in tremendous pain down below.
For more than one reason.
Oh my God. Yeah. My stomach hurt, my neck hurt, my head hurt, everything hurt. Just head to toe pain. And the ambulance drivers were so upset that they were yelling at me. They didn't throw the yellow flag. I'm like, I don't care.
Right. Can we please go to the hospital?
And they asked, they're like, do you need to go to the hospital? I'm like, I don't know. I was like, and they were like, that was a big impact. I'm like, what's your assessment? You guys this is
you're the expert.
Right, yeah.
What the hell are you asking me for?
And they were like, yeah, you could have. They're like, where does it hurt? I was like, everywhere. They're like, you could have internal bleeding. I'm like, great. Like, let's just go.
Sounds bad.
So fortunately, I was able to get out on my own accord, which they did relay to my wife. Like, he stood and walked. She was like, sweet. But yeah. So I went there, went triage, had that whole embarrassing thing where they just rip your clothes off for it's like a audience of people waiting there.
Yeah. We need to have a segment where we bring the wives in and get their take on like what was going on.
I was just getting ready to say the very same thing. And the good news is we get cookies when she comes.
Yes.
That's right.
You guys are welcome.
Two
back.
reasons to have her on.
Hey, listen, we only have 7 minutes left, and I love the story, but I want to get through as many of these as possible. We're going to go through rapid-fire questions.
I have one quick follow-up for Hal. Have you gone back to endurance racing after that event?
Well, it just happened in June. So I'm still recovering, and I had surgery
TBD
afterwards. So, but yes, I will. I mean, I certainly will. I'm already racing in a couple weeks, so
Great.
yes, I will be back.
All right, rapid-fire questions. Most of these are going to just be for Hal because they involve racing.
Oh, okay.
I'll just sit here and eat my cookie then.
All right, 10 questions, less than 7 minutes. All right.
I'm ready.
If racing disappears tomorrow, what would fill the void?
Ooh, that's tough. Probably swimming, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, I was a competitive swimmer, and I did it up until I was 30, and I would probably do that again.
Okay, number 2. If kids are fearless, what's the adult racer's secret weapon?
Intimidation.
That sounded like a great answer, even if you didn't mean it.
That's just not real. I think just poise, honestly.
Yeah.
The kids will just kind of send it, and we're a little more reserved, and I see a lot of incidences that are easily avoidable.
Okay, number 3. If you're a bad driver, what's the go-to car to mask the lack of skill? I feel like he's already got one in mind.
I've seen a lot of Corvettes.
I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew it.
Yeah, with that similar affliction.
All right, number 4. What's more dangerous, overconfidence or underpreparedness?
Ooh, interesting. I would say overconfidence would get you in trouble a little quicker. Because at least, if you're, not overconfident and you have something go wrong, at least you're a little more aware and know your limits.
All right. Number 5. What ruins more potential racers, ego, money, or fear?
Ego. I've had more instances with ego.
Yeah.
Personally, yeah. Guys that just didn't check it and tried things that were just stupid, and and you see it a mile away. You're like, oh, he's going to try to make that pass, and I'm just going to check up, and he's just going in the grass. And
yeah.
And interestingly enough, it's probably the same answer for HPDE, what we do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's always ego that gets in the way.
Yeah, that's true. All right, next question is for both of you. If you had to race blindfolded with someone as your eyes, who would you trust?
Someone we know personally, or could be anybody.
You can pick him out of the sky.
Yeah.
Whoever.
I'd do Lewis Hamilton.
Good answer.
Anyone, yeah.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I'd say being an IRL homie, even though I'm a Penske fan, it pains me to say this, Scott Dixon. Like, just the most consistent, been doing it for 40 years at that level, if you include karting. The guy's just unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. What's more embarrassing, running out of talent or running out of gas?
well, that's happened to me.
Both?
In an endurance race. Well, yes, actually. Yeah. But,
hopefully not at the same time.
I was leading an endurance race by 2 laps in an Aston Martin GT4, and we ran out of gas.
Oh, no.
I had to do the toe of shame, and it was really embarrassing. And still got podium, still got the third place on the podium. And David Tuati had to announce that.
So what's worse?
That was really embarrassing.
Running out of gas.
Yeah, just because it's so easily avoidable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simple. Just
we've seen that multiple times, even in HPDE.
Oh yeah.
Somebody runs out of gas and happy hour at the end of the day.
Yeah, because you're just happy to go out there. You're like, oh, it's my turn.
Don't even pay attention to that fuel gauge. Huh?
Yeah, no, who needs that?
All right, number 8. Which stays with you longer? A win you didn't deserve or a loss you couldn't explain?
I will say the win I didn't deserve. I've had that. Yes, and it didn't sit right. I didn't like that.
I figure, yeah. It's kind of heavy.
Yeah.
All right, this one's right up your alley. I don't know why. Mid-race, would you rather have a brake fade or a bowel fade?
Rather have. I mean, probably a bowel fade, just because I'm still able to stop the car then and
yeah,
come off.
just let it.
I would just let it. I mean, and send me the bill. I'll have the car clean.
You're disgusting, Hal. All right, number 10. Would you rather race fearless and short-lived, or cautious and long-lasting?
Cautious and long-lasting. Yeah. At my age, yeah. No,
yeah.
15 years ago, the other way around. But
Well, you're also not getting paid enough for the former.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
you know,
I mean,
right.
I'm paid in cookies. So.
Right. Well, right. And my guess is you get those regardless of where you finish. So, right. Right.
All right, Hal, we're going to move on to our last segment, which is the guest challenge. This is where
Yes.
you get to challenge one of your friends, two of your friends actually,
Yeah.
to come on to the podcast as guests. So if you want to look into your camera and lay down the challenge.
I think a great guest, I don't believe you've had him, Terry in SL4.
Okay.
I think he would be phenomenal. And Ben Arche, who is a newbie to tracking and racing the last couple of years and is doing it. And I would love to hear his story.
Well, there you go. The challenge has been laid down by Hal. If you're interested in coming on the podcast, definitely go to the website. It is offtheRacingLine.com, and let us know when you want to come in. That is all the time that we have for today. It's been awesome talking to you. You got some great stories. I think we're going to have him back.
We need to have.
I want to talk more.
There's, I kid you not, there's like 2 or 3 pages worth that I didn't even get to.
Right.
So,
And again, we have to have his wife on at the same time.
I
Yes.
think that would be great. Yeah.
is that something
she
that
has
you would be
stories
interested
too.
in? All right, well, she's got some time to think about it. All right, until next time, remember, everything interesting happens
Off the racing
line. See you guys next time.
This ain't what car from this seat of the racing line.